All right, and we are live here on Twitch.tv/Perry Von Vicious. Welcome back to the workshop. Oh my camera looks it's a little messy. There, that's a bit better. Yeah, it is a rare Thursday night Perry, and I am down here in the workshop because it was a big weekend. It was a big weekend. Old Pear Bear, the Grind Grand Champion, as we know. I won a second championship. I am now Perry 2 belts. I am the Pro Wrestling Grind Grand Champion, and I am the Blitzkrieg Pro Jensen Champion. Hey, Nick of Beans, welcome, my friend. And with that, I want to care for these belts as well as I can. Both companies have trusted me to take them home with me, which not all wrestlers get to do, and not all companies allow. And they are, let's behind the curtain, dropping the facade of pro wrestling or whatever. They are props, and they are in many ways the most expensive prop that pro wrestling companies invest in. I won't go into exact figures, but I do know these belts were considerably expensive. Hey, Useless Dave, welcome, my friend. Thank you so much. Gotta stay hydrated, kids. So what we're gonna do today, I'm gonna show off both belts, of course. Hey, Cody Brooks rolling in, Adam NX67, welcome. I'm going to show off both belts, but the Blitzkrieg belt is brand new, so it doesn't need any cleaning just yet because it looks phenomenal. This is the first thing. If you're a serious champion and your company doesn't have one of these, belt bag. Blitz didn't have one ready to go for their title. Hey, Rise in the house, welcome. Blitz didn't have one ready to go for the new title, so I hopped on Amazon, and I gotta tell you, when it comes to caring for an item, belt bags are very inexpensive, and they will save you a lot of heartache with scratches and paint chips and all kinds of things that can happen to a belt over time. This belt bag that I have here covers the whole belt. It is shaped like a belt, easily packs, nice and small. It was about $13 all told. I don't like to support the Bezos site per se, but in this particular instance, it's a very niche thing. I'm not going to find it at a local retailer. You can't fool me. That's an accordion. So I am going to pull the Blitz belt out here so we can get a look. And you will see it is shiny and new and beautiful, right? Hard to say that it could need much of anything. I am gonna fold down my belt bag here and set this back on top of it in the hopes that we'll switch. I just got a new up close cam here, so we're gonna try it out a little bit and see what we like, see what we think. Might need a little repositioning, get a little different angle there. Yeah, that's looking good. So I will set it down here, and this is a beautiful championship. Really came out nice. Got to talk with the guy who made it and did all the work on it. It looks fantastic. Yeah, camera 1, camera 2, very Wayne's World. I'm noticing little smudges on it now where I'm like, boy, it's brand new and it's already got a smudge. That's when you carry these things around in a wrestling locker room, that's going to happen. But yeah, looks fantastic. So psyched to have that. Huge moment at Blitzkrieg. And what a design. Absolutely beautiful. I haven't taken the time to look in at all the details yet, but it's very cool. I'm super into it, and the shape of the side plates is essentially the shape of the Blitzkrieg Bedlam Championship, but turned sideways. Whoa! Just realized I gotta alter part of my layout here. There we go. All right, that's better. Had the chat popping up over my face. It is called the Jensen Championship. It's named for Tim Jensen, who is has been a huge supporter of Blitzkrieg since the very early days. And he still works with them even now after several illnesses, and he's often using a cane. He will still come to all the shows and cart talent around if they need rides to the airport and stuff. He is a fantastic guy and an incredible help. But I did want to just take this moment to show off the new championship. I am going to take it out of frame now because, like I said, that belt is brand new. It doesn't need any help. It's shiny and new. It's in great shape and doesn't need a thing from me other than to keep it in a nice bag for now. However, our beloved Grind Grand Championship has been around for a while now. Here we go. We're looking for that view. That's what we need. Camera 1, camera 2. The Grind Grand Championship's been around for a little while now. And it's seen a few champions with a lot of travel. And to put it politely, and this is straight from the promoter's mouth, the other champions never once cleaned it or polished it. So we're going to rectify that today. So again, same bag. I picked up a second one, this one for Grind. Grind had a belt bag, kind of a thick microfibery thing, but it was just a loose bag, so the plates could kind of knock around in there. I didn't really like that. This bag, I feel a lot safer bringing it around in this. So we're gonna break out the Grind Grand Championship here. Yeah. On the big screen, we'll get a look. Yeah, from far away, it looks pretty good. You wouldn't know that it needs some attention paid to it. It needs some love. Oh, you know, that's a good point, Rye. I should really, I should take, right now, while you say that, I'm going to take a few before pictures so that we can have a good comparison. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this thing needs some real attention. I'm gonna switch camera views in the hopes that this new camera can show us yeah, and Pro Wrestling Noah vibes, Adam and XX7 is there's two companies that Pro Wrestling Grind wants to be like. Noah and early Ring of Honor. And this thing, big Noah vibes. That's why they picked green as their color. But yeah, I'm going to switch to the other camera, and we're going to see if this new camera allegedly focuses automatically. So we'll see if, yeah, you can sort of see the dulling, and there's some buildup around the edges. There's a lot of fingerprints. You can almost see, I can leave fresh fingerprints in it if I drag my fingers across it. It needs a lot of care. So thankfully, championship belts don't take a ton of tools or anything in order to care for them. You're not going to be using a lot of like harsh liquids or anything. You know, it's a leather strap, and it's carefully painted, carefully plated metal. So you don't want to use anything too abrasive. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this grind belt, set it down on my lap, and I'm just going to lay out a towel here, so that it's got a little bit of protection. It's just a fresh bath towel from up in the house. You know, doesn't have to be. I'm not buying a special towel for cleaning the belts. I say that, except in a second we're going to get to our materials, and you're going to see that in fact I did buy some things special for this project. Hey, Wrestling Pops, thank you so much. Of course, yeah. All kinds of great stuff on TikTok, and thank you for following and coming to hang out. I appreciate it. So let's talk real quick about what tools. I'm going to reposition this camera just while we're chatting here. We're going to talk real quick about what tools and items we actually need for this, and it's not anything fancy. I have a jar of just very clean water, and that with a paper towel is all we're going to use on the actual strap, because that's all it needs. And then as for the rest of this, as for most of this buildup, some of the dirt and stuff is mostly in the side plates I'm seeing. I have this cool tool that my wife actually orders for cleaning all kinds of little. She does some electronics repair around the house and stuff. They're these little bitty Q-tips that look like toothpicks, but if you look carefully on the end, they are white, and they're just the tiniest little pointy Q-tips. So we're going to be able to get into the creases and crevices with that. The other thing that you need is a microfiber, just a cloth. It's sort of like a chamois style. And these are great. You can wash them, reuse them. Better than buying something that was a one-time use. And then the other item that I have is going to be for some fine work here. This is a Japanese microfiber cloth, usually used for lenses and screens. But I wanna really go into detail on this, and make sure that everything looks good when we're done. I want this to be a noticeable difference. And again, I just took some good close-up pictures that I think are gonna really tell the tale here. I love me a good picking stick. Yeah, a good picking stick. I was also watching the '84 Dallas Supercross on YouTube right as you were. Oh, hey, nothing pairs better with watching one thing than watching another thing. I'm glad you could come hang out. So for now, what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to start on sort of one end and work my way down. So I'm going to bring the whole belt over here. Let's see if we can get this centered. Yeah, and we're going to start on this end piece here, and just see if we can get some of those details kind of cleaned out. And I'm starting right in with our little picker stick here. Oh man. Oh, that is, I think I can even see that on the screen. It's a huge difference immediately just to get something into those corners, and kind of, when something hasn't been cleaned for a long time and it's been in wrestling gear bags where there's never mind the sweat and all those things, or even like the adhesive from wrestling tape, it's just, there's going to be condensation. You're in hot cars and it's in a closed bag. That's tough. Okay, I just want to see how noticeable this is right away. Oh man, I don't know if that's going to read on camera, this little piece right here compared to the others, but there is a gleam that doesn't exist in the others. For who made the grind belt, I'm not actually sure, Joey Nails. Hey, welcome, bud. I know that it's one of the big belt makers. It's one of the guys that does work for AEW and WWE. And I know that it was a very expensive item. But this is going to be particularly slow going, which does not bother me. Rather really take my time with this and have it come out looking nice, a big noticeable difference, than rush through it and feel like I wasted my time. Yeah, these little, oh man, yeah, let's see if we can get a close-up on that on the new camera. Will it focus? It claims it autofocuses. Well, maybe the claims are exaggerated. But the end of that tip is no longer white. It is definitely like a dark, gross gray. Okay, Rye says she can see the difference. I was going to say it looks a lot better. Yeah, all it takes is just a little bit of that cleaning, and I can see it's a huge difference. Nicobene says, when I was a GameStop manager, I enjoyed doing this all the time in controllers. That is primarily what these were bought for. My wife cleaning her Joy-Cons and old game console controllers that stopped working as well as we might have wanted. And she's done a great job bringing all that stuff back to life over time. Yeah, this is making a really big difference. I might have to get more of these little fine point Q-tips from upstairs. I need to make a technical difficulties music screen or something. Grab a little bit of paper towel here, just a little corner piece to see if we can't, yeah, wipe some of that cruddy stuff off of there. I'm creating winter cheese. Yeah, yeah. Ugh. I mean, I suppose I can't think of a much better name for it. I mean, this is just the caked on condensed sweat of Jay Freddy and Mike Skyros from the belt traveling around in their bags for some time. Jay Freddy for almost a year. Mike Skyros for about almost 700 days, something like that. 64 slices of processed cheese. Look, I'm not saying that that's a YouTube video you should make. I know I'd end up watching it. Like, I would just end up watching. Like, if it was a video where someone just said, I sit and I eat 24 slices of processed cheese, and they just count them out. There's nothing weird about it. It's not like high-end microphone ASMR or anything. Just a phone camera pointed at them while they go to town on some cheese. I feel like that's relatable content, right? Am I crazy? Hey, Mr. Man, welcome. We are shining up one of my 2 championship belts now that I am Perry 2 belts. Oh man, yeah. You know, I kind of wish they'd bought a cheaper belt. There's so many details. It's so intricate. I got to get right into all the little bits. But this is like a literal difference of, like, I can see my reflection in some of these patches now. I mean, even if you just compare these 2 against each other and you see this is noticeably cleaner and shinier. Not gonna lie, I do enjoy some ASMR. It's very relaxing. You know, it's funny. Funny that I'm doing this today. I had planned on doing this yesterday, and I had when I won the belt, the first thing I thought was, all right, now's the time to finally get around to cleaning and polishing the grind belt. I'd been wanting to do it on stream since I won the grind belt back in April, and just hadn't gotten around to it. And then I spent yesterday watching these great drawing videos from the Dan Does channel. If you've never seen it, it's a great YouTube channel. Little artist, crafty guy who makes monster stuff. From the UK, so he has a very charming, distracting accent. And just watch these drawing videos where he's drawing monsters. And they're sort of real time. He does a little bit of cleanup editing. They're sort of real time and about an hour long. You know, kind of a sit around and enjoy yourself kind of video. Oh yeah, even the gold is looking better. Yeah, this is a big improvement. But I was watching those, and boy, saving those videos for right before bedtime. They made me sleepy. Old Pear Bear was ready to hibernate a bit. I hope this is exciting. I'm glad that it's looking better, but it is a slow process. But, you know, anything worth doing is usually pretty difficult. No, I got the Simpsons reference. I'm an old school Simpsons guy. I was the exact right age. I was at that age where parents were telling us not to watch it because Bart Simpson was a bad influence. You know, back before parents stopped caring. I mean, I don't think telling your kids not to watch a cartoon like The Simpsons is necessarily a worthy argument. But I certainly, some of the things I hear kids say at wrestling shows now, I don't know what they're watching, but it's they're saying stuff a lot more wild than The Simpsons ever did. But yeah, I've been known to watch some long form semi ASMR YouTube stuff. It's usually a crafting video. You know, as Homer Simpson might say, infotainment. Haha, they got worse mouths than me. They really do. I've never heard you say any of the kind of things they say. Did you spend the entire night eating cheese? Oh man. Yeah, this is a huge improvement, and I've only been doing like select little bits of it so far. Like, I was kind of hoping this would be a much faster project than this, because I still have to have a leg day workout tonight. But I did kick the stream off a little bit early. I've been doing that lately. You know, for the longest time, it's been 9 o'clock has been Perry time. And I've decided that starting my workouts at 11:30 at night might not be great long term. I've definitely missed a few workouts here and there because I've been tired and it's been late. And it was late because I was having a stream and I was having a good time, so I stayed on. I think the earlier start is pretty good, though. It's going to take everyone some time getting used to it, though. I've noticed the last few times I start about a half hour early. It takes about a half hour for folks to show up. I think everyone's kind of set in the schedule. I get it. I think I'm blind. Like the name Grand Championship. Most wrestling promotions, if their main title be a world title or universal title, yeah, or heavyweight championship, they often use. Yeah, I always liked that Chikara used Grand Championship as well. I thought that was a really good way of saying, like, this is the main belt. If you say World Championship on the Indies, and it's only defended in, for example, East Hampton, you can't really call it a World Championship. You can't even really call it a New England Championship. It's only defended in one spot. You know? Ooh, yeah, I gotta get around these little... Now I'm like starting to discover bits where I'm going, oh, I didn't even see that this was here. Oh yeah, that's putting a good sheen around those letters. Although we can now say that this is a world championship, as I did defend it just 2 weeks ago up in Canada. So I gladly helped crown this as a world championship. Speaking of, that match with Kobe Christ will debut on the Pro Wrestling Grind YouTube page Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. So if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, it's already debuted. You should go see it. And if you're watching it live with me now here hanging out in the chat, Monday at 9 o'clock on the Grind YouTube. Alright, this may make the camera shake because the camera is attached to the table, so I apologize if that ends up being the case. But this is sort of the part where all it really needs is some buffing. Wow. Wow. That is absolutely wild how well that worked. Comparing the shine on the two now, you can see a huge difference. Absolutely wild. Oh man, if only I lived in an era where I could have wrestled John Tenta. Alright, everybody hang tight real quick. I'm going to run up, grab a couple more of these, and I also have my little air spray because I want to be able to blow any bits and stuff off of here. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. I will not give you a topic. You're all grown-ups. Come up with a topic. Okay, kids, I am absolutely going to read the chat to see what you got up to while I was gone. Coffee talk. It would be coffee talk. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. Discuss. All right. Warning for anyone with earbuds. Got the old air blower. I'm just going to hit this because I know there's some little bits and stuff that are stuck in there. That is effective. All right. That's a great start. 1 of 4 plates. We're going to move along to the next one, which may take just as long. It's hard to say. But yeah, I am real happy with how that first one came out. It is very clear that the previous champions did not have a belt bag, because there are a lot of teensy tiny little scratches on some of these plates. But it is a belt that has been well used, well loved, and moved all over for 5 years almost. See, hey, Mr. Man says, what air blower is that? I need to get me one. Got to be cheaper than compressed air and easier than hooking up to a tank. And I will say yes to both. It is, let me see if I can get a name on it. Oh man, I'm never going to pronounce that company correctly. Cagiwiru. Cagiwiru. Of course, bought from the Bezos website. And it has a million little adaptable ends that go on it. Some blow wide, some get really narrow like this so that it hits really hard. Some have brushes on the end of them. And it does, you can turn a little light on it in case you can't see what you're blowing with. And it has 3 levels: low, medium, high. So it's pretty good. I literally got it so I wouldn't keep buying compressed air. And I have not bought compressed air again since. I use it for electronics. I use it for drying parts from my 3D printer. It gets all kinds of use. It is a well-loved item in this home. Although I will say, I do have a tiny little compressor, about maybe the size of like an old school like cassette tape Walkman, that is strong enough for my airbrush that if I hooked a little blower to the end of it, would absolutely do the trick in a similar way. I just don't want to have to run to where I can plug it into the wall all the time. I want some freedom of movement. Gnarly. Yeah, I really don't know if the amount of like crud and stuff that I'm pulling up off of here is showing, but I'm gonna snag a picture with my phone. Maybe I'll put it on the socials later. Yeah, there it is. Gross. Yeah, definitely overdue for some cleaning. I feel like I'm really only doing like a cursory cleaning on it. I know like I'm getting in here with some fine tools and things, and like really trying to get every little bit, and again, you can see the difference. That side versus that side. This side is very dull. That side, very shiny. Yeah. Electrical outlets get to be at a premium in workshop spaces very quickly, and that's the case in my workshop as well. In fact, all the outlets back there, really, all I can plug into that is lights, because all of those 2 whole strips go back to 1 outlet. It's really not safe. The old man who owned this home before us wired it himself. It's pretty clear, and it is not safe. So I do have another a whole nother line down here that I use just for big stuff. When I run the table saw, when I run the treadmill, all those kinds of things. Our washer and dryer are on dedicated lines that we had to run ourselves. But you know, that's being a homeowner, I guess. Yeah, there are so many tiny little detail bits here that I'm going to do my best to try to clean out, but some of it, yeah, it's an uphill battle, folks. Old Pear Bear's doing the best he can. Perry Two Belts is trying. Been feeling a little bit under the weather today, and the only time I really felt much better was right after I did some fairly intense cardio down here on the treadmill. So, if I do in fact have a cold from being around like so many people this weekend, which wouldn't be unheard of, I guess I'm going with the sweat it out method. I want to know, is the change as I'm doing this, is it clear on camera? Because this is my first time with a new camera down here in the workshop. This is going to be a dedicated camera for workshop stuff. So it was a birthday gift from my in-laws. So I'm hoping it works out well. Shout out to my in-laws. They don't watch my content. I do know my dad and my mom watch my content from time to time. They go to my YouTube and they watch some of this stuff after I've uploaded it. So they're often in the know about what I'm up to because they hear it on the live stream before I talk to them. Which makes me sound like a negligent son, and who knows, maybe I am. I try to keep them posted though. I have a 100-foot drop cord out to my workshop. Whoa! Now that rules. Oh yeah, I'm sure his tools, I'm pretty sure he cut the grounds off all his tools. I'm certain of it. The guy definitely considered himself a bit of a handyman who had this place before us, but, you know, he was definitely a DIY guy, because ain't no way he hired anyone and they did this kind of work. If he did, he got taken for a ride. Oh yeah, this is going to need some real buffing. Oh man, even on the gold on this one. Yeah, you can see the color fully change just there to there. Boy. Straight up red green it, that's right. Hey, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Keep your stick on the ice. I'm a man. But I can change. If I have to, I guess. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at now you can see the color change there. Look at that. You can see my finger reflecting some of it. Not really, not down here, but up here. Yeah, you can see a difference. Mega Club 6. Hey Perry, we were just watching your Tim Jensen title match on Gina's Twitch. No way, I didn't realize. Oh, I'm overlapping with Gina. Well, I do have the Jensen Championship right here. It's brand new, so it doesn't need to be cleaned, thankfully. But the Grind Grand Championship has put in 5 hard years of work for Grind, and it it needs a little TLC, you know what I mean? Thanks for coming and checking out the stream. Tell Gina to come check out the stream too. She never comes in and says hi anymore. What a punk. Gina the meme referee. Every match there's at least one picture that you could turn into a meme. She's a very expressive person, Gina. I've known Gina for years and years, long before she was in the business. She was a great fan who would come out to shows and hang out. And generally one of the cooler people, you know. A wide range of interests, very similar to mine. We actually talked for a while about starting a band together. Gina's a drummer, for those that don't know. And yeah, then my bookings picked up, so no time to start a band anymore. And the bookings have yet to slow down, so here we are. Can't complain about that, though. Out there making towns, selling merch, making friends, having a good time, all at a ripe old age, way past when most people have quit indie wrestling. But not me. I am stubborn. I've definitely talked about it on the stream before, but you know, my still being a part of wrestling. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You know, Blitzkrieg is one of my favorite places. It's run by a dear friend who was in the same graduating class as me from our wrestling school. We had our first matches on the same night back in January of 2008 in the bustling metropolis of Indian Orchard, Massachusetts. Definitely will try to make it to the show if you're booked in Minnesota or South Dakota. Hey, talk to the promotions. Get me out there, man. Get me booked. I'd love to do it. I just had my first ever Wisconsin booking. That was quite a time. Out there hanging out with my old pal, Dr. Redacted. You know, you have some friends that you make in wrestling, but like it's similar to like friends you make in college. You make friends in this weird part of your life where you never really fall out of touch with them. Dr. Redacted moved away during COVID, I believe. He moved from the East Coast to Vegas and then relocated from Vegas to Chicago a year or two ago. That timeline sounds about right. And this was the first time I'd seen him in almost 2 years. We just hadn't crossed paths. And there was no great big, oh my God, it's so good to see you. There was none of that. It was just, hey man, let's get in the car and roll. You know, we were just, it was like we'd seen each other the day before. How's that looking? Yeah, that's making some difference. Yep, sometimes you gotta know when to switch to the broader tool of the microfiber. Yeah, you know what? A lot of what's on here, you know, a lot of what makes this look dirty essentially is water spots, and it's from condensation from being in a gear bag and traveling, you know. We're in cars that get really hot. We're in locker rooms that get really hot. And that stuff adds up, you know. There we go. That's what we need. Let's get in here with our blower again. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Try to hit some of these broad areas and see. Does it want this tool or does it want the more broad? I'm even going to just See if a little moisture helps some of those water spots. Watched Dynamite last night, and Hiromu Takahashi made a surprise appearance, but he didn't bring Dari. Okay, that's crazy that he didn't bring Dari? I forget how it's pronounced. I always watch it with Japanese commentary, so it zips right by me. But I love Takahashi. Old Hiromu. An incredible talent. His some of his work when he very first came back from his kind of long stay in America and in Mexico was really something. Then he had that terrible neck injury a while back. Yeah, you're right. It's Daryl. It's Daryl. You're absolutely right. That's why I was going. How's it pronounced? Yeah, Daryl. You're right. And you know what? I read Daryl as Derry because of the exclamation points after it. That's my screen with the chat is a little bit far away. All right. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I feel good about that. That's a big improvement. In a second, I'm going to move this over because we're going to work on. I think we're going to work on the big belt now because I want to see it come back to life like when it was new. But I believe you should be able to see the difference in the level of shine of this to this. This little one has a great glimmer to it. Very, very shiny, clean. This one you can see a lot of the silver's very, very dull. The hand reflection is very minimal in it, very cloudy. So I think as we continue on here, we're going to see a very noticeable difference. I'm also, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm kind of looking over other parts to see like what else is going to need attention. Like, is the belt the belt looks very clean, like really, really nice and clean. So I don't even know that I'm going to need to do anything to the belt. I think I'm just going to stick to the plates. But yeah, this is looking much, much better. And that's very exciting. This was something I told Rip I was going to do. One of the first things he said when I won the belt, he said, hey, please polish that damn thing because no one else is bothered. What he really meant was, please clean it so that it looks right again. And yeah, we're seeing a big difference here. I want to try this. I want to try just right up across this top comb here. Let's get a read on the shine there. You can't see fine details, but you can see a little bit. I don't know if you'll be able to see the little bitty bespeckled sort of water spots that are on there. Even if I bring it up closer to the camera, you might be able to see it a little bit. But you can definitely see in between here, it's all kind of splotchy. That's what we want to try to fix. So for right now, I'm gonna hit some of this top here and see what kind of difference it makes. And this is all just with a dry rag. Like, I'm sure a little bit of water would probably have even better results. Let's see if we can. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see the difference on camera. This is yeah, it's mostly water spots on there, which is really, you know, you can get them off with a dry rub. Sometimes it takes a little water to break it up. All right. Yeah, I do think that maybe what I want to do, I'll open my jar here, grab a towel de papier. Oui, je parle français un petit peu. And I'm just going to get like the littlest bit of water on here. I mean, like, you can't even tell that that's wet. That's how little I want to do. I'm just gonna get a little bit on there and then come back and hit it with the rag and see what kind of change that makes. I don't want to use that in all the little creases and crevices because once you get liquid in there, it's hard to get it out. I do think that's taken care of a lot of it pretty quickly. I don't know that I'll need to add any more, though. I think what's on here may be sufficient. Yeah, that's looking, it's a big improvement. And again, this is with microfiber rags, so, you know, very non-abrasive. That's what we're trying to do here. We don't want to come in, if I came in with like a polishing wheel or something like that, or like a sponge that had like Scotch-Brite on it or something, it would just wreck this whole thing. So, and I would never do that. Don't let the intrusive thoughts win. Alright, I'm going to get inside some of these little bits and bobs here. See what we can do. Oh, so gross. Yep, a few years of passive neglect, I think I would call it. Not outright neglect, but just having a sort of attitude of leave well enough alone, I suppose, might be a way to describe it. But that's never been how I do things. Leaving well enough alone has never been enough for me. Anyone who's watched me paint figures on these streams knows I will agonize over tiny little details that no one, including the people buying my toys, will ever notice. They'll never notice. They don't care. They just want it to be the likeness of the wrestler they saw at the show. They don't care if there's a little bit of splotch around one of the pupils in the eyes. I care. They don't care. They don't care if the line between the boots and the knee pads isn't totally straight and clear, but I care. And that is why I suffer. I have taken over, I think I've talked about it on stream a little bit, I've taken over some of the responsibilities at the Pro Wrestling Grind YouTube channel, doing some video editing for them to try to, they're pretty close, so I'm very close to the 1,000 subscriber mark. I think I'm around 940 or so right now. They are somewhere around 840, give or take. And I would love for them to hit that number as well. You know, Rip and Delmy. It's no secret, it's Rip and Delmy's company. Rip and Delmy having a little bit of some passive income from that would be pretty cool. And they themselves are not quite as adept at YouTube work as I am. I have a professional background in that kind of stuff, so being able to help them out a little, I'm glad to do it. Yeah, the chase of perfection. I do know that there is a fine line where you have to, at some point, be able to stand back and say, you know, the perfect is the enemy of the good, the perfect is the enemy of the done. That's one that I repeat a lot. The perfect is the enemy of the done. You can circle around perfection all day herding cats, but in the end you're better off putting out something that's a B+ than never putting out anything at all. You don't turn in a term paper, you get an F. If you turn in a B+, you get a B+. It's there's Teacher Perry coming out there. It's what my students called me when I taught English in South Korea. Teacher Perry. Although they didn't call me Perry, they used my real name. They did find out that I wrestled. The other teachers actually stooged me out to them. But the Korean children were very well behaved, so I didn't have to worry about them imitating or anything. They were all absolutely perfect children. Nicobene says, I need to hear this. I've been putting off something because I didn't think it would be good enough. There's a few quotes that I love to repeat that come from people that I don't think we should look to for advice. One of them is, if you're good at something, never do it for free. That's, of course, the Joker from the Batman movies. Not necessarily someone you should be taking philosophical advice from. And then another one, I love to say that, good is a point of view, Anakin. It's Emperor Palpatine. Again, maybe not the barometer of morality that I'm making him out to be by quoting him. But in that same vein, a very conservative, irredeemable television pundit was once quoted as saying, "Fuck it, let's do it live." Sometimes that's what you gotta do. Sometimes you gotta say, "Fuck it, let's do it live." Forgive the language. I don't really swear much on these streams. If you're a first-time viewer because you wanted some calm ASMR of a belt being cleaned, I apologize. But when I lived in California, I had this amazing manager. He was kind of half just character manager and kind of half like my real manager. He and I went everywhere together for wrestling. If I got booked somewhere, I told them he needed to be booked too, and they had to pay him just the same as they paid me. We were a hell of a team together. We did video sketches. We would get together on weekends. We didn't have bookings and work on ideas for YouTube and for merch. It was great to have a collaborator like that. His name was the greatest mind in professional wrestling, Matthew Thiel. He and I often just abbreviated "fuck it, let's do it live" to Phil Dill. We could just look at each other and go, "Hey, Phil Dill," all right? And we both knew that, like, okay, that means you're overthinking it. You've done too many takes. Let's just let one rip here. And we'd roll camera. But working with Thiel was a very important part of my development as a performer in so many ways. Not just in terms of, suddenly having to use the psychology of, oh, I have a manager. Here's another character that I need to integrate with my stuff. It wasn't just that. It was also having another mind with me that I could collaborate with. I think that people don't get to do that enough in pro wrestling. You don't get to collaborate enough when it comes to things like your character and your personal approach. It can be a very isolating experience because you want your character to be you. You want your character to feel like you. And unless someone's really close to you or really gets it, it's really hard to trust someone's opinions. Thankfully for me, instantly meeting Thiel, he gets it. Took one look at him. This guy gets it. He and I cut from the same cloth. Same goes for me and Levi Shapiro. We met and just, this guy gets it. We knew it immediately. Me and Rip Bison, this guy gets it. There's some people, you meet them and you know right away, like, this is someone I can collaborate with, this is someone I can bounce ideas off of. It's such a valuable thing to have. Alright, I'll catch up on the chat. One of my favorites, I have a lot of favorites, is Burnt by the Sun, released on the album called Perfect is the Enemy of the Good. Oh, yeah! Let's see, Adam says, that doesn't work for me, brother. Yeah, that's a pretty useful quote by a person that we definitely shouldn't take as being a barometer of our morality. I don't know, anyone who goes on national TV and tells anyone to pray, I think we should have been highly suspect of him from the beginning. I hope that's the only thing he gets remembered for. Yeah. Yeah, the all out of bubblegum line's great. And really useful if you run out of bubblegum. And if you're the kind of person who gets into a lot of fights. Yeah, I think once we've... Yeah, you can really see a difference now. I'm going to see if this reads on camera. This, the word grand up here, is what's been polished. The rest is a little bit wonky. Yeah, you can see some smudging and stuff down here that no longer exists up this way. Yeah, this is making a good difference. Again, it's always hard to tell if this kind of thing is going to read on camera. Reading in person, getting it to be visible in person is important. It is, of course, going to get dirty like immediately because its next appearance will be at RPM Fest, August 31st in Montague, Massachusetts. The annual Pro Wrestling Grind Goes to the Heavy Metal Festival show. Always a blast. You can meet Nika Beans there, who will be running a booth with her many oddities, crafts, collectibles, all kinds of cool things. Running some arts and crafts courses, little classes for folks and things. Little classes and folks. That sounded demeaning. She'll be running arts classes for people for free at RPM Fest. I mean, come on. You got an arts class you can just wander up and learn a bit. How much does that rule? And then of course you come hang out with Nika Beans and Rye, who will be snapping photos, hiding out behind the lens for Pro Wrestling Grind presents Bark at the Moon, an aptly named show title for a heavy metal festival. And sadly, after we picked that title, it became a very appropriate title. It was initially a title we chose just because it was an outdoor show at a heavy metal festival that's at night. So there's a moon there, and that, made sense. It's also the first show title I've ever picked for the company. I was sitting down with Delmy and Rip, and we were sort of chatting about what the show should be called, and I pitched it, and it's the first time I've pitched a title and they've gone with it. So, big win for old Pear Bear. Oh yeah, we're okay. Yeah, we're making some good progress here. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the RPM Fest. It's one of the wildest shows Grind does every year. A very non-wrestling audience, which Rye was there and can attest. Them not being a wrestling audience manifests itself in great ways, terrible ways, and everything in between, from not knowing how much they can be involved in the show to chanting and shouting very inappropriate things. Yeah, that crowd is all over the place, but we love them. They're for me the most local crowd I can get. I live about 10 minutes from RPM Fest, so really I think it is maybe the closest I've ever wrestled to home. I think maybe in California there might have been some times I wrestled in Oakland while I lived in Oakland, or Santa Cruz while I lived in Santa Cruz. The Metal Fest is RPM Fest. And when you search RPM Fest, they are, thankfully, the only one that comes up. So very easy to find them. I also believe I've talked about this on the stream before. It is run by a good friend of mine, Brian Westbrook, who was the drummer for my band when I was in high school and early college. Had some Warped Tour dates together. Very, very 2000s pop punk band, with a lot of weird stories that I could tell about it. At some point, I'm going to do a watch-along here on the channel. I think we should mix things up. I think we should do a little bit of some of my wrestling. Maybe we... I did, yeah. We'll do some clips of my old bands, maybe. I think there's some room to have some real goofy fun if we don't limit what we watch together. I think a nice watch along. And I've also talked for some time about doing a watch along of some old school monster truck racing from the 80s and 90s, the kind of, the stuff I grew up watching. I've definitely talked before about Return of the Monster Trucks, the first ever side-by-side monster truck racing ever shown on television. Uh, uh, Another kid at my babysitter brought the VHS along, recorded off of, I believe, HBO is where it aired. And we watched it at my babysitter's, and that was all she wrote for me. I was in. I was in for monster trucks. My parents didn't know what a monster truck was. I came home from the babysitter age 2. It was all I would say. So when I started this particular version of Perry Von Vicious, the human monster truck era, the reaction of my parents was was pure laughter. They thought that was the silliest thing and the most obvious thing. They really got a kick out of it. I think they still do. I know with my mom, the thing she likes best, we're going to talk parents for a minute. The thing she likes best is seeing clips of fans cheering for me. I was bullied a lot and picked on a lot as a kid. My mom always said, I had a lot of crushes that were unrequited as a very small child. And my mom would always say, one day when you're grown, you're going to meet smart people, not these small town nobody kids, and they're going to love you. So when she sees clips of people cheering for me, I know what that means to her. For my dad, I think the thing he likes best about my wrestling, other than it being kind of a fun conversation piece when he's chatting with people, I think the thing he likes best is the merch making. He is an engineer. I've talked about that before. And I believe that he loves that I got into 3D printing and toy design and a bit of graphic design. I think that's the thing he's most excited for with me in wrestling. Neither of them particularly care for wrestling. In fact, I'm certain both of them would prefer I not be in wrestling. But at 17 and a half years in, I think they know that it's a foregone conclusion that I'm doing this. Catch up on the chat for a sec. Let's see, I wrote for the band's website one year for Warped Tour. Oh, what year, Nickabeans, if you recall? Now I'm thinking the paddles with monster truck designs and oh. Interesting. All right. Yeah, we've started to make some really good progress here. Again, if it's not totally reading on camera, that's okay. I think it is actually, because you can see in here is still really dull when I move it in the light, because this should be the same silver as this. And you can see my finger reflect, and then you can see my finger not really reflect. So I do think you can see the difference now. Wow, 02 to 03. That may have been the year. I think the years I did it, because it was 2 summers, I believe it was 03 and 04. Pretty sure. So there's a decent chance we may have overlapped there. You may have been covering a band that mattered while I was playing. I will say the weirdest, the weirdest thing I've experienced in wrestling is getting recognized places I've never been before. The very first time I ever wrestled in Reno, people knew who I was when I showed up. That was weird. Getting recognized at airports, especially since I'm not like a TV wrestler, weird. Probably the coolest one was shortly after I came back from Kyushu. Came back from Kyushu Pro early December of 2023. Came back from my first tour of Japan. in January 2024, just about a month later, maybe a little less than a month, my wife and I were in Disneyland with Levi Shapiro. Came down to hang out with us. We were on Tom Sawyer Island, and I suddenly heard this voice go, "Petty?" And I recognized immediately that it was a Japanese accent saying Perry, because I'd heard it for months in Japan. And I turned around, and this whole family, two Japanese kids, Japanese parents, all kind of went all at once. And I said, "Yes?" And they said, "Kyushu Pro." And I said, "Yes." And they ran over and took pictures with me. That's crazy. Less than a month after coming back from Japan, I'm in Disneyland on Tom Sawyer Island, so far removed from, I mean, there's so few people that even go there. And someone recognized me and wanted a picture. Like a whole family really recognized me and wanted a picture. It was very cool. Uh, my wife hates when that happens. If we're somewhere and I get recognized, she just fades into the back. She does not like attention or strangers. We were actually, we went to see Weird Al and Puddle's Pity Party a few weeks back, you'll all recall. And after the show, and getting in line for the merch table, Steve Stabodili, the photographer from Limitless, occasionally Blitz, and a few other places, was in line for merch. And I got a hearty, "Hey, Perry!" To which my wife let go of my hand and just drifted back away from me so that she wouldn't have to meet a new person or be introduced. Which I think is a great way to deal with it. If that's, if that's not your thing. Alright, I'm going to hit this with this thing real quick. Disney World story is so sweet. Yeah, it's particularly great because it's one of my. I mean, it's absolutely my favorite place. It was technically Disneyland in California. Sorry, I'm one of those nerds. Um, and yeah, just it's one of my favorite places. It's my favorite Disney park. My wife and I got married there back in 2011. So it was just really cool to have that happen there. And I have been recognized at Disneyland before, but it was while I was living in California. I was being recognized by Californians. Not as surprising, but having a Japanese tourist family spot me and remember me from having been wrestling in Japan just a little while earlier, that was something. Yeah, so they do have Tom Sawyer Island in Disneyland. And now they only have it in Disneyland because Disney World just got rid of it. Just got rid of Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers of America. Unbelievable to me. Absolute blasphemy to get rid of those parts of the park. Now, admittedly, I don't care as much when they change things in the Florida parks. I don't love the Florida parks. I like them. I like them just fine. Epcot I love. I love Epcot. When they make changes to the Florida parks, doesn't bother me. If they tried that in Disneyland, I would have bought a flight and I would have been causing trouble. I would have been causing trouble out in California. Controversial take. I'm kind of glad they're removing it. They're removing it. Oh, yeah, okay, in Disney World. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Like, I know the take in Disney World is, well, no one goes there. It's boring. There's no ride. Like, I get it. Disney World is for the casual, like, tourist folks, not the, like, extreme Disney nerds like me. So something like Tom Sawyer Island might not be as big a deal there. Whereas in California, the park is mostly locals that go there. Mostly locals. Yeah, a heckin' ruckus, a big heckin' ruckus. Yeah, California is a very different breed of Disney fan. If you're overly knowledgeable and you geek out for stuff in Florida, people get really annoyed with you. I see it as the big difference is midday on a weekday. Now the California folks, they know they have manners. They don't do it on the weekends when the tourists are there. But midday on a weekday, if you go on Haunted Mansion, everyone in the stretching room says that spiel along with it because we all know it word for word. And it feels like being at an old pop punk concert where everyone sings along. The first time that happened to me, I loved it. And then I looked online and saw people who were so mad that people do that. And I didn't understand. And like, I guess I get it in the Florida parks. I get it in the Florida parks. You know, a lot of people, it's their once in a lifetime vacation. You know, they may never get to go again. You don't want to hear a bunch of nerds talking over the recording. I get that. Yeah, they get mad because they want to hear the real thing, and I get it. I get it. But, I mean, it is a room of, you know, some 40 people all saying it at the same time. And they do get loud on the big lines, you know. Everyone sort of starts quiet on the "when hinges creak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo in the halls." They're quiet on that part. But when it comes around to, "this chamber has no windows and no doors," everyone kind of booms along with it. And I get it. Like, I want to shout along with that. It's a cool moment. It is absolutely the pop punk thing. It is. It's the one false scream, or it's shouting Heyman's intro. That's a great comparison, Cody. It's exactly that. It's a moment where you are with your people, you know, and you're not gonna walk up to a bunch of randos at Disneyland and go, "Hey, isn't it great here? Don't you love this dumb thing?" You're not gonna do that. No one does that. That's weirdo behavior. But if you're in the Haunted Mansion and you hear someone next to you quietly saying, "that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight," maybe you start saying it along with them. It's a cool little quiet wink, nudge, nudge, yeah, I get it too kind of moment. I love that stuff. Let's see. And the same with movie re-releases that are cult classics. There's some stuff you have to quote. There absolutely is. I got to see UHF at a special screening in Providence probably 7 years ago. And Weird Al was there to do a Q&A after. And there's a bunch of lines we all shouted along with the movie because of course we did. We got 2 ears, a mouth, and a heart, don't we? Gotta play along. There is a small chance we don't totally finish this today because I am taking my time and doing a lot of yammering. But that's alright. I gotta make sure I stop in time to have my leg day workout tonight. I know I mentioned it earlier, I wasn't feeling so great, but after a workout I felt a bit better. So I'm gonna ride that wave and see if it keeps me feeling good. Well, there are many that don't care for him. I just love the entire crowd singing Edge, Copeland's theme. Yeah, no, that rules. I love when that stuff happens. Last times I've been, I was basically chaperoning my niece and nephew through the ride, trying to keep them from being scared. Yeah, you know, this is why I don't have kids. But niece and nephew, my wife and I have talked. We do have a niece and we have a nephew who we love very much, and we both know that at some point we will be called upon to be the aunt and uncle that do the Disney trip. And when we do, we're going to teach them how to do Disney right. Get in at the crack of dawn, stay all the way till closing, ride the most boring rides you can find, never pay for fast pass crap. Don't pay for that, come on. What am I? Some amateur? I just go in the right order. Go in the right order, you miss all the lines. It's great. We never wait in the line longer than 40 minutes. Doesn't matter what the ride is. We won't do it. We refuse. Absolutely refuse. Oh yeah, we're getting somewhere now. All these little details are going to make a big difference, because when you see the little bits glimmering, that's huge. Oof, yeah, rough going here. Might need a little moisture in some of these. Just kind of dab some around. See how that helps. Uh-oh, grizzly raid. The crew's rolling in. That's right, we're here making the belts look good. Gotta keep the champ shiny. And if you're looking in the small corner of your screen, yeah, that includes my widow's peak. Gotta keep it looking shiny. Some people get really worked up about their hairline. I don't know, man. It's not something I can control. Why get worked up about it? Know what I mean? Thanks, Grizz. Been going at it for a little while here, so trying to make it nice and shiny. It's a world of difference from where it was just a little while ago. In fact, I'm closing in on the part where I'm going to be able to take some after pictures. I took some before pictures so that we'd have some comparison. All right, let's see if we can get into. Oh, nice, good. Microfiber comes to the rescue. Good, digging that. Yeah, the moisture is definitely helping. A little bit of just getting things a little bit damp before we go into this fine point Q-tips. Yeah, it was pretty dirty. Just in the little creases and crevices. They didn't have a belt bag for it before I became champion. And that meant that for about a year, Jay Freddy just carried it around in his gear bag. It's going to get a little dirty that way. And then for almost 2 years, Mike Skyros just carried it around in his gear bag. I'm sure they did their best to put it in a good spot where it wouldn't get too dirty or whatever, but only so much you can do. But I have procured a belt bag for it and for the Blitzkrieg Jensen Championship. So now all the belts are being well cared for, with some protective cases for traveling and storage. If someone's going to make you a champion, better take care of that belt. Don't make them regret it, you know what I mean? Someone's going to let you take that belt home for use in promos and photos and what have you. Make use of it and take care of it. The number of people I see win championships and they don't take photos with the belts, they don't cut promos with the belts, absolutely absurd to me. There is no greater prop, if we want to call it that, in professional wrestling than a championship belt. And taking good care of it, making sure it is prominently featured so that people know you are the champion. I think those are important things, and when you don't do that, I don't have a better way to say it. It shows some disrespect for the company and for the belt. I would wear that belt to Joanne Fabrics. If you can find one. Yeah, R.I.P. Joanne. Joanne F., pour one out. Hey, a lot of Perry gear came from material purchased out of Joanne Fabrics. I learned to sew with a sewing machine and fabric bought at Joanne Fabrics. Yeah, all right. Right now what I'm doing is I have a ever so slightly dampened paper towel, and I'm getting things just a little bit wet, just the littlest bit, and then I'm hitting it with the microfiber. Let's see. Nicobene says you make your own gear. I don't. I used to make entrance gear for myself in the Rich Snob Perry days. Tearaway, Dickies, and ascots and those kinds of things for Rich Guy Perry. But these days, my ring gear is made by Delmy Exo, who is a very talented gear maker. In fact, a great deal of wrestlers in New England and beyond, including folks who've been on pretty notable stages, have gear that Delmy has made. She is not taking on new clients, so don't tell anyone that she makes gear. Down to one craft store here now. Michael's. George Michael's? George Michael? What? 15 miles to Legoland. Alright, and I think, you know what, we're almost done with this this main piece. We gotta hit the stuff on this side. It's hiding from me. If the light doesn't hit it, it can be hard to tell if it's already been buffed up and shined, you know? All right, warning for the sound of the blower here. All right, we are looking much better here. Getting caught up on the chat. I'm guessing it's all arrested quotes. Taste the tears, Michael. Taste the happy. Tastes a lot like sad. Alright, now we're moving on from that well shine. Look at that. Look at the sheen on that. That's looking nice. Whereas over here you can see how dull it really shows in the silver. And then over here, very clean. Over here, not so great. Don't touch the cornballer. Cornballing piece of sh... You can tell we're here on an off night. Bobby Gilbert hasn't popped in. Maybe he's streaming himself. I didn't look to see who was on. Alright. Down to just a few of these fine point Q-tips. I found that like maybe one kind of does the small one and two on this one. So be kind of judicious on these and see if I can just... Yeah. It's been, since starting streaming, it's been really interesting to learn what kind of stuff tends to do well in drawing folks in live on Twitch versus what stuff performs well when I upload it after the fact to YouTube. It's really interesting. I get the feeling that my Twitch crew here has a big affinity for the quiet hangout workshop streams. And for monster truck video games. That seems to, and wrestling video games. That seems to be the main draw amongst the Twitch crew. On YouTube, the big hit really seems to be N64 wrestling games. Epic Mickey has been popular over on YouTube. And the Epcot Sim Future Port. It's been real popular over on YouTube. I have one stream of Future Port over there that has like 7,000 views or something crazy like that. That's a lot of views for such a long video. Yeah, see, now I'm already starting to go back and try to fiddle with the other plates. I think this is going to be an ongoing thing. I think whenever my brain needs order, I'm going to have to set some time up to come down to the basement and clean these belts. I'm simultaneously watching two things at once. I'm watching, alright Grizz, take it easy. I'm watching how much time we got left and how much battery power I have. The battery power is running real low. So if we cut out suddenly, I apologize. I did not bother bringing a plug down for the laptop. Usually it's pretty good about this stuff, but it, like all of us, is getting older. It's not my gaming laptop. That one, brand new, had no battery time. The big graphics card and all that, 2 hours tops when it was brand new. Which is a bit of a bummer, but I mean, how often are you playing that thing mobile, you know? I got it so that I could bring it, set it up in hotel rooms and work on it when I travel. Not for running off battery, you know, I just wanted it to be something I could pack up and bring with. Yeah, this is going to work out okay, and I think we're probably going to time out all right. Might be able to just finish the belt if I focus up and keep moving here. Which I know that's a disappointing thing to hear. I know how everyone likes when I go on tangents and start telling childhood stories or unhinged stories I shouldn't share about my fellow wrestlers. What do you all think? I was recently asked to give a speech at the wedding of Delmy Exo and Rip Bison, even though I was not asked to be the best man. They've asked me to instead be the one who gives the best man toast. Their best man is not a public speaking type. I think the move is that I hide the Grind Championship under my suit jacket. And I open my speech by explaining that even though I'm giving the speech, I was not asked to be the best man, and I am not the best man. However, with this championship belt, and then reveal the belt, I think there's an argument that maybe I am the best man. Rip has told me under no circumstances am I to bring the championship belt to his wedding. He was very explicit about that. I don't know what could have possibly made him think I would consider such a thing. Don't worry, I'm going to vlog their whole wedding. It'll be on my YouTube. Yeah. Alright, that's all the silver bits there. Now we can hit it with our slightly dampened paper towel, and you know, I want to actually try the little Japanese microfiber. I want to see what that does. Might not be abrasive enough to really get much done. Yeah, I don't think that's really having too much effect. Yeah, I'm gonna have to switch back to the chamois. See, to me that says bring. Yeah, you see, this is what I'm saying. I figure what he's really doing is trying to set up a challenge. How do I sneak it in without anyone seeing? And it will be difficult because I am part of the groomsmen party. So I'll be in front of everyone most of the night. You know, I still don't technically have a save the date or an invite to their wedding, and I'm a groomsman. I think they figure they told me about it, that was good enough. How am I supposed to order food? I wonder if they're serving food. All right, we're married. Everyone get out. Boy, those bisons know how to throw a party, huh? My wife is not coming with. She is not social enough for such a thing. At this point, I think in the whole time I've been back on this coast, about over 8 years, 8.5 years almost. I think my wife has met Delmy twice and met Rip maybe 3 or 4 times, all in brief passing. No anything. Currently watching the stream of Blitz from Sunday. My dude Zach got to call Rip and Delmy versus Delta Force. Yo, Zach's a cool dude. I've known Zach for a long time, alongside Torres and Alyssa. Yeah, I was, they had a big rotating cast of commentators that night. So I had no idea who did commentary on my match, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was the grind team of Alyssa and Torres that pulled the scramble. All right, let's scoot this on down. We are on our last plate, and this is looking much, much better. The shine on this, yeah, I really don't know if it's going to show quite the same. I'm going to try to get a clip on my phone real quick so I can put it on my Instagram a little bit later. Hopefully that shows it. I'll send that to Rip, see what he thinks. It's great to see Alley Catch as guest commentator. It was great to see Alley Catch in general. Alley Catch, I've known for years now. An absolute delight to have around. She's had her ups and downs, and I think she is through the worst of any of it, and really thriving and having a great time. And yeah, she is a delight to be around. Always, the fact that it was a surprise for us that she was there, the wrestlers didn't know she was coming, so for a lot of us it was sort of a surprise reunion. We hadn't seen her since she got injured. So really good to see her back and walking around, and I know she's closing in on a return. I know her estimated timeline, but that's not mine to share, so I will just say you should all be very excited. She is most certainly coming back, and I know she's excited to come back. The photographer for the Bison wedding could step in for a dance partner. Oh, right. Are you the photographer for the Bison wedding? Did I not know this? Why don't I ever know anything? I never know what's going on. People tell me places and times, and I show up. And even then, sometimes I don't know the places or times. I just know I'm supposed to be at someone's house, and then they bring me where I'm supposed to be. I've definitely gotten in the car with Torres for Limitless shows, thinking that the show was in Yarmouth, which is a pretty reasonable drive, only to be told on the way, like, no, man, we're in Herman tonight. That adds a considerable amount of time on the drive. So that can be a rough reality to learn that when you're already in the car and you've already made your energy drink stops. Start regretting your lack of purchases very quickly. Oh, well, that's cool. Well, I'm excited to see you there. I still have to, you have to have a matching suit to everyone else in the groom's party. I haven't ordered any of that yet. Some of it's stuff that I own, but I've put on a significant amount of muscle since I last had to wear any of it. The last time I wore my really nice clothes, my get dressed up nice clothes, was pre-pandemic. And the pandemic was when I put on most of my muscle. I went into the pandemic at around 210, 215. I came out of it somewhere around 225, which is pretty significant. These days I'm floating around 245. Yeah, I kind of assumed, Nicka Beans, that you would probably be there as well if Rye would be there. I had a feeling. Well, that's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing you both there. That'll be a fun time. A chance to talk where I'm not anxiously keeping an eye out for fans that are coming up to buy stuff at my merch table. I always feel bad when like friends come to shows and stuff and they want to chat and I'm like, hey, you're kind of in the way. There's someone who might spend some money on a t-shirt. You know, that feels not great, but you also only have limited time with the audience. So, you know, you gotta move product when you can. Of course, you two know the deal. You know, you run booths at different festivals and things, and you both get it. You know, you've both had time touring, working with bands and stuff. You know, I don't have to worry about the two of you. If I told the two of you, if I suddenly turned to Nikki and Ryan and said, hey, scram, someone's trying to buy stuff, you know, I would get the like casual like aye, because they know the deal. I've never had to do that though, of course. They're the homies, they know the deal. We're so close. I think this is the last little silver packet that needs to, oh no, up here. Yep, that's the one. I'm gonna moisten that one a little bit. Alright, let's get in here and give this a quick once over with the chamois. Also both worked retail. Oh, God, yeah, so you know it all from every direction. I had a great experience one time in Santa Cruz. I'm just checking my battery power real quick. 24%. We're fine. I had a great experience in Santa Cruz at the boardwalk. There's a magic shop there. And I would go in from time to time because I do some sleight of hand, and every once in a while I would need something. So I would pop in, and I kind of got to know the owners a little bit. They knew I was a wrestler and that I did some magic. It was pretty quick that they figured out that I did some sleight of hand, because one of the first times I was there, they were demonstrating a trick for someone, and the guy happened to look up at me, and he saw where my eyes were looking versus where everyone else's were looking. I knew where to look to see the business being done. And he, without looking back up, so I never made eye contact with him, he just said, so how long have you been doing sleight of hand? And I told him, well, you know, on and off since I was little. But I am a professional wrestler, so I'm used to a bit of, shall we say, guerrilla misdirection. And he got a laugh out of that, and he started moving in for the sale on this thing for these kids. And I very quickly kind of disappeared. I wandered off and told him, hey, I'm going to come back in a little bit, because I wasn't buying anything right then. And he appreciated that. When I came back, he said, yeah, I knew you were clearing the way because I had someone who wanted to buy something on the line, and you didn't want to be in the way. I said, right, because I was going to buy something either way. If I walk off, you're not losing the sale. I'm going to come back. And he said, I appreciate that. And I go, right. Carney knows better than to step on another Carney's toes. All right, I think we're calling that clean. So I'm going to real quick move a bunch of my stuff out of the way here, put a lid on this water, and we are going to slide this belt back into frame here. And that is much, much better. I mean, I think I just might be able to look into the camera on it. You might be able to see me in the reflection. That's a huge improvement. Look at that. Come on. You can tell how many fingers. Alright, let's switch back to the big view. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out on sort of a little bit of an impromptu Thursday night Perry. Um, I will be back again Monday and Tuesday next week with my usual gaming nonsense. And until then, take care, have a good weekend, and I will catch you all next week. See you later.